A question about the flooding, because obviously this was just a devastating year across the country, and not to put question as to why there was flooding, but like land use has that changed since the maps were redrawn? Is the Corps of Engineers going to say, do our flood maps accurately represent what a 100-year flood is anymore, based on land use and potential climate change?
Well, that depends on how the Corps manages the rivers, and the way the Mississippi River is managed is much different than the way the Missouri is managed. And to be quite honest with you, the Mississippi flooded because the Missouri was running so high. It had nowhere to go, and management of the Missouri River has been the biggest problem in all of this. The Ohio is managed different than the Missouri. The Mississippi is managed different than the Missouri, but for whatever reason, the Missouri River continues to be the issue. We got a lot of rain. We had a major event on the Platte River, which flows into the Missouri through Nebraska, and then we had record snow melt that we knew it was coming, and the frustration, at least on the Missouri side, is we have a system in place of 7 dams and reservoirs to handle flooding issues. The problem is the priority is no longer flood control and navigation. The priority is fish and wildlife and tourism. And when you manage based on that, then you're going to continue to have these events. So as long as the Missouri continues to run high, and the Mississippi is going to always run high, and it's just going to back up the entire system.
I mean, with this particularly bad season, is that going to change those priorities? Is that going to put congressional pressure on the Corps?
We're putting a lot of pressure on the Corps of Engineers right now. They have a tremendous amount of autonomy. We can't go in and dig into to their budget like we would like to be able to do through directed funding, and that's a frustration, and that's a big part of it. It's interesting. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Everybody has a horror story about the Corps of Engineers and the way they manage all the river systems, and it's extraordinarily frustrating.
And rules that have been set up before I got to Washington, they don't even allow us to suggest authorizing language with no money attached that can change the direction of how the Corps manages some of our waterways and our navigation channels. So we're working together to try and get a bipartisan bill put forward, but the Corps clearly understands, from Sam and me and folks that are on our committee, both Republicans and Democrats, that we have a lot of concerns in Congress about the way the Corps manages our flood.